The planet Erythra was beautiful once. Its two suns painted the sky in shades of red and gold, and its cities floated like silver petals over clear blue lakes. The Valari, a gentle and wise race, had lived in peace for thousands of years. They spent their days studying art, healing plants, and building gardens that could sing when the wind passed through them. They believed war was something of the past, something only primitive minds would ever choose. But that belief broke the day the Cracks' dominion came. The Cracks were not like them. Their ships were built for conquest, their claws sharp, their minds cold. They burned Erythra's skies and crushed every defense the Valari had. The once peaceful planet turned into a field of smoke and ash. The Valari leaders gathered in their council hall, voices trembling as they debated. None of their allies had answered their pleas. The great empires of the Galactic Council were silent. No one wanted to stand against the Cracks. The Valari ambassador, Talir, stood before the great beacon that connected across the stars. It was their last hope, a distress signal meant to call help from anyone who could hear. She pressed her hand on the glass panel and sent the message. Her voice shook as she spoke. "This is the Valari Alliance of Erythra. We are under attack by the Cracks' dominion. Please, if anyone can hear us, help us." The message left the planet and traveled through dark space, passing countless stars, until it reached an old communication node near a small, forgotten blue planet. That planet was called Earth. At first, the Valari thought the signal had failed. No one had answered for hours. Then a strange reply came, written in rough Galactic common with many spelling errors. The message was short. It said, "Hold out. We're coming." Talir didn't know who sent it. The council members laughed when they heard it. "Humans?" one of them said in disbelief. "The Deathworlders? Their planet is full of storms, diseases, and predators. No civilized race could live there," another added. "Even if they come, they'll only bring chaos." Still, Talir held on to the words. Something in that short message sounded honest. It did not sound like politics or empty promises. It sounded like someone who meant what they said. Days passed. The Cracks tightened their grip on the cities. Smoke filled the air. Talir stayed in the capital, refusing to leave her people. Then one night, the sky flashed. A streak of light broke through the clouds, followed by several smaller ones. The people ran in fear, thinking the Cracks had returned, but when the ships landed, they bore no Dominion marks. Their hulls were gray, marked with strange letters that read, UTEC, United Terran Expeditionary Corps. The ships were small, their designs rough and practical, but they carried power. The first hatch opened and out stepped a human wearing a weathered pressure suit. His name was Captain Mason Hale. His face was calm, eyes sharp, beard dusty with ash. Behind him came men and women in similar gear, carrying boxes, equipment, and weapons unlike anything the Valari had seen. Talir approached carefully. You answered the call?" she asked. Hale nodded once. "We did. Show us where to set up." The Valari expected a long introduction, maybe a ceremony. Instead, the humans began working right away. They brought out machines that unfolded into walls, drones that built shelters, and tools that hummed with quiet energy. Within hours, they had set up defenses around the capital. They studied the land, mapped the enemy's routes, and gave orders like they had been born for this. The Valari watched in wonder. These humans didn't move like soldiers of old legends. They were focused, fast, and calm. They joked quietly among themselves, even as they dug trenches and placed weapons. When one Valari tried to thank them, a human smiled and said, "You can thank us later. For now, grab a shovel." For the first time in weeks, Talir saw hope. The humans didn't seem afraid of the Cracks. They didn't even talk about losing. On the third night, the sky lit again. The Cracks' fleet had returned to finish the job. Dozens of warships entered orbit, their engines burning red. The Valari panicked, but Hale only adjusted his visor and spoke through his comm. "All units, ready positions." The Cracks' attack came like thunder. Fire rained from the sky. The ground shook. Yet the humans held their lines. Their machines roared, spitting metal and light. The Valari had never heard such sounds before. It was terrifying, but also beautiful in its own way. Talir stood behind a barrier, watching as Captain Hale ran through smoke, shouting commands. "Left flank, cover fire, keep your heads down." His soldiers followed every order without hesitation. When a Valari medic froze under fear, Hale reached out, pulling her to safety. "You're doing fine," he said, his tone steady, not angry. "Just breathe and help the next one." Hours passed. The attack kept coming. When one Crack's ship tried to land troops near the riverbank, a human team intercepted it, planting charges under the bridge and collapsing it before the enemy could cross. The humans fought not with numbers but with brains, with timing, with teamwork. When dawn finally arrived, the smoke cleared to reveal a quiet battlefield. The Cracks had pulled back. The Valari, for the first time, had survived a night of attack without losing everything. Talir found Hale sitting on a crate drinking water from a metal flask. His armor was scratched, his face streaked with soot. She stepped closer, unsure how to speak. "You risked your lives for us," she said softly. "You don't even know us. Why would you come when no one else did?" He looked up at her, eyes tired but kind. "Because you asked for help," he said simply. That's all that mattered. Those words stayed in her heart. They sounded old, like something that came from a time when honor meant something. The days that followed changed Erythra forever. The humans trained the Valari to fight, to think like survivors. They built new walls, stronger and smarter. They taught them to hide sensors underground and use decoys to confuse enemy scanners. The Valari engineers, quick learners, began to adapt human ideas to their own energy systems. The two species worked side by side, forming something neither had known before: trust. Still, everyone knew the Cracks would return. The humans had won a battle, not the war. When their scanners picked up readings of a much larger fleet approaching, Hale gathered his people. "We're not leaving," he said firmly. "We hold this line. If we fall standing." Talir tried to argue. "You are too few. You'll be destroyed." Hale shook his head. "You don't know humans very well yet. Back home we've faced things worse than this. Planets that freeze oceans. Winds that tear mountains. We don't quit when it's hard." Talir looked at him, and for the first time she felt something new. Not fear, not pity, but faith. The galaxy had called them Deathworlders, creatures born on a violent planet too dangerous to trust. But as she watched them repair walls with bruised hands and tired smiles, she realized something else. Maybe it took a Deathworlder to understand what it meant to survive. That night, while the humans prepared for the coming storm, Talir stood on the city's high balcony and looked toward the stars. Somewhere up there, more Cracks ships were on their way. She feared for her people, but she also felt a strange calm, because she knew who waited for them. The morning on Erythra began with silence. The smoke from the last battle still floated above the ruined towers. The humans worked quietly, repairing defenses, checking weapons, and helping the wounded Valari. The people of the city looked at them with new eyes. The same creatures once feared as Deathworlders were now their saviors. Captain Mason Hale walked along the wall, studying the sky through his visor. His small team had done the impossible. They had stopped the Cracks once. But he knew it wasn't over. The scanners showed a larger enemy fleet approaching, maybe 100 ships strong. The Cracks were returning to crush what little hope remained. He called his officers together around a map made of holographic lines. "We can't outrun them," he said. "If we try to leave orbit, they'll shoot us down. Our best chance is to stay, fight, and make them regret ever coming here." The humans nodded. No one argued. Some checked their rifles. Others smiled faintly, as if used to bad odds. One engineer joked, "Guess it's just another Tuesday." The group laughed softly, breaking the tension for a moment. Talir, the Valari ambassador, stood nearby, listening. She didn't understand how they could still laugh. "You fight as if you have no fear," she said. Hale smiled. "We have fear," he replied. "We just don't let it drive us." The Valari leaders begged him to evacuate. "You've already saved us once," they said. "If you die here, it will mean nothing." But Hale only shook his head. If we leave now, they'll come again. This time they'll finish you. We end it here. In the following hours, both humans and Valari worked together. They built new barriers out of broken metal, turned farming drones into defense turrets, and dug tunnels under the streets to move supplies unseen. The Valari learned quickly, their delicate hands building with purpose. Children carried food to the workers, singing small songs to keep spirits high. For the first time, the city moved as one people. As night fell, the horizon turned red again. Hundreds of crack ships filled the sky like dark wings. Their leader, Overlord Jalkrek, sent a message across all frequencies. His voice was deep and cold. Surrender now and your deaths will be swift. Resist and your world will be dust. Hale listened, then turned off the transmission. He looked at his second-in-command, a woman named Carter. We're done talking, he said. Let's show them how humans fight. When the Cracks fleet began its descent, the humans triggered their traps. Mines hidden in the clouds exploded, tearing through enemy formations. The first wave fell before touching the ground. Then came the ground assault. Thousands of armored Crack soldiers advanced, their metal claws clicking, their plasma weapons flashing. The Valari trembled at the sound, but Hale's voice echoed through the comms. Hold the line. Trust your training. We don't run. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. The humans moved with precision, covering one another, guiding the Valari units. When the Cracks pushed from the east, Hale sent a squad through the tunnels to strike them from behind. When enemy drones filled the sky, Carter's engineers turned the city's power grid into a lightning trap, burning them mid-air. Talir stayed with the medics, helping the wounded. Her soft hands, once used for writing peace treaties, now worked to bandage soldiers. She could hear the distant thunder of battle, the sound of the Deathworlders holding firm. Each explosion felt like the heartbeat of hope. Hours passed and the fight grew worse. The Cracks sent heavier troops. One by one, the outer defenses fell. The humans kept falling back in perfect order, never running, never panicking. Hale moved among them, his voice calm even when the ground shook. When one of his men was injured, he lifted him with his own hands, carrying him to safety before returning to the front. Talir saw him through the smoke. Standing tall against the firelight, his armor cracked but his will unbroken. She realized something then. Humans didn't fight for power or reward. They fought because someone needed help. As the third wave came, the sky lit with new energy. The Crack ships fired from orbit, scorching the upper city. Buildings collapsed. The Valari cried out in despair. Hale ordered everyone to fall back to the last barrier, the heart of the capital. There, among broken statues and shattered gardens, the humans made their stand. They planted their flag on the central wall, a piece of torn fabric with Earth's emblem burned into it. Hale spoke softly over the comm. This is where we stop them. No more running. No more burning worlds. Every survivor took a position. The Valari who once feared weapons now held rifles. The children who once sang songs now carried water to the fighters. Even the oldest scholars stood beside the walls, ready to defend their home. The Cracks came again, pouring through the streets. The humans met them head-on. The noise was endless, blasts, thunder, and cries, but beneath it all was a strange rhythm, the sound of courage. The Valari began to shout words they had learned from their human allies. Hold! Hold! The last line stood for hours. Hale's armor was broken, his rifle nearly empty. Carter's voice came through the comms, weak but steady. Captain, sensors show ships incoming. Big ones. Hale thought it was another wave of Cracks, but when he looked to the sky, his eyes widened. Dozens, no hundreds of new ships broke through the clouds. They carried the same mark as his uniform. The Earth fleet had arrived. The reinforcements opened fire, sending beams of light across the horizon. Crack ships exploded like stars dying. The enemy began to fall back, their formations broken. Cheers erupted through the city. The Valari looked up in disbelief. Hale leaned against a wall, exhausted. Took you long enough, he murmured with a small smile. Within hours, the battle ended. The Cracks fleet withdrew, leaving Erythra behind. The ground was covered in ash, but the capital still stood. The humans had done it. Talir found Hale sitting on the embassy steps, helmet off, staring at the sunrise. His eyes were tired but peaceful. She sat beside him. You've saved us all, she whispered. He shook his head. We just kept our word. She looked at him for a long time. The galaxy calls you Deathworlders, she said. But I think they are wrong. You are protectors, Hale smiled faintly. Sometimes, he said. It's the same thing. When the rest of the fleet landed, the Volari helped carry the wounded humans to safety. The people of Erythra sang songs of honor that night, songs that spoke not of fear, but of bravery. They raised a new banner over the capital. It showed the joined symbols of Earth and Volari side by side. Word spread across the stars. Stories of humans, the ones who lived on a world of storms, beasts, and endless challenges, who had crossed the galaxy to defend strangers. At first, many worlds refused to believe it, but soon other survivors told similar tales. The name Deathworlder changed its meaning. It no longer meant danger. It meant strength. It meant hope. Weeks later, when the Earth fleet prepared to leave, Talir met Hale again. "What will you do now?" she asked. He looked at the repaired skyport where the ships waited. "Go home. There are always more calls for help out there," she smiled. "If we ever need you again." He stood, offering his hand. "You won't need to ask twice." They shook hands, and the gesture felt like a promise that would echo through time. As the human ships rose toward the stars, the people of Erythra gathered on the plains to watch them go. Children waved flags, and the wind carried their voices high. Somewhere among the clouds, a human voice came through the comms one last time. "Take care of your world. We'll be watching." The Volari looked to the sky long after the ships vanished. Their world was scarred but alive. The humans had come from a planet of chaos and danger, yet they brought peace instead of destruction. From that day forward, when any world cried for aid, they remembered Erythra's story. They remembered the Deathworlders who came when no one else dared, and across the galaxy the phrase spread like fire through dark space. "When all others turn away, the Deathworlders of Earth will come."